how you want things done and when. Stop yelling at your mom. Gon suddenly spoke up, seeing the hurt in Riley's face. Arden's expression was soft, but he recovered quickly, blinking rapidly. Shut up! Arden shouted back. Clayne stood up. Okay, let's all simmer down. This has been tough on everyone. There is no point in acting like fools about it, Clayne said sternly. Apologize to your mother, boy. He stared Arden down. It's okay, I think we should just all go to bed, Riley suggested. She stopped the Clayne before he could approach Arden. Arden quickly left the room in a hurry. Go on to bed, ladies. I'll clean up the kitchen, Clayne offered. Miss Verna, I can help you back to your room, Gon suggested. He went over to help her out of her chair, clapped on the shoulder, stopped him briefly, and gave him a nod of approval before walking off to clear plates. Am I a bad mother? Clay whispered the question. Gon took Verna away to the other room. She finally felt like she had the space to exit. I don't know how you parent your kids when they're young. I wouldn't label you as a bad mother. You're dealing with an unruly child, however. He hasn't learned his limits yet. His emotions run wild at inappropriate times. Concealing things makes you act out in foolish ways later, Clayne told her. He filled the sink with soapy water while Riley leaned against the counter. I keep trying to make good decisions, but it seems like the past won't stop coming back at me. Riley chuckled dryly. Her focus shifted from the wall to looking longingly up into Clayne. Embrace it and move on as best as you can. You can't control how your son feels, but you can give him boundaries when it comes to speaking to you, Clayne offered as he scrubbed in a plate. I just feel so awkward and horrible doing either. If I try and give too much freedom and just leaving him alone with everything, it feels so wrong. But if I try and act strict, it seems like I'm insensitive. I know I didn't really do the best the first time around. It kind of just seems like I'm doing the same thing Arden. Just, I don't know. Really blew out air, slowly going to start putting things away. Well, I think it'll all work out. Alan's a good boy. Maybe he'll help and talk some sense into him. They're at the same age. It'll probably be easier for him to talk about whatever he's going through. I think he'll learn to be more mature with how he's feeling. Because if he doesn't, there's really nothing you can do, really. I told her. Really chuckled dryly. Yeah, I guess. I'll just have to keep hoping it'll work out. Really agreed. Two spoke softly, both getting the kitchen clean together. Sit at my grave. Season 4. Sanity or Salvation. Chapter 47. It wasn't true. They cared about Reed. It was obvious. So why didn't it feel that way? How could they adjust to a life without him? Why didn't they feel torn up inside looking at old memories? They were lulled in so easily while he was suffering through this unending nightmare. Arden adjusted his hand on the side of the wall, leaning into the mirror. His shirt was off, replacement ball on the damp counter. He kept tracking his own eye movement in the mirror. He stared at his disheveled hair, wondered by now Artis was actually staring into his own eyes. His fist was balled. He pushed himself out from the parapet. Even with the faded scars from his battles, the dark mark on his chest, and the haunting expression, he hated that he could still see glimpses of Reed. It was taunting. Artis rubbed his eyes, thinking about that. His anger had felt justified. Everyone was glossing over his brother. They could get him back. So why didn't they just accept he was gone? Why did his anger and sadness shut in? He was alive, just trying to find his way back home. The thoughts jumbled over his brain. He stood there in silence, hands covering his face, head cast down. Sluggish sat in there with him. He didn't want to leave on a bad note, but surely it was expected by now. This time, his mother wouldn't hurt so bad. The sigh that eased out of Art's body was low. It made his body tremble as he released it. He had to leave town. There's one place he had to visit first. A gentle creak, and suddenly, the door was open. Art's head was back up, but his hands still lightly covered his face. He didn't know who he was expecting, but he considered he would apologize to whoever hit him in. Arnold startled. Someone was looking at him. Eyes that seemed to glitter in the bit of light he would provided the otherwise dark hallway. The eyes flickered, traveling Arnold's torso from his mirror's reflection. Arnold swiftly turned around, facing him, his senses heightened. Thought he was alone. Now, instead of family or even a friend, here was this perfect stranger. Arnold could feel the goosebumps travel up his arm. Who? Arnold started. Once again, the door was shut. Arnold frowned, blinking out of his daze. Had he really seen someone? Or was his mind playing tricks again? He pulled his shirt back on and went to grab the doorknob, but stopped in his tracks, his eyes widening. Those crystal blue eyes, glossy red hair, the mysterious marking on his body. He's seen them before, right before he got home. But how? Why would they possibly be here? Arnold finally snatched the door open, heartbeat going quicker. He looked back and forth in the dark, but saw nothing. Whoever it was had gone, leaving an empty hallway and questions in their wake. The quiet squeak of small tires rolled after Arnold as he took his things and left out. His mind still questioned the almost interaction. The person, they had to be real. He had written evidence in his journal. He drew as best as he could that odd mark he saw on them. He recalled the interaction. He'd even seen other people acknowledge their presence. The front door opened and closed softly. Arnold's back to his grandmother's house. His blustery wind surrounded his body. He pulled his coat on tighter and walked past the familiar yard. He wasn't sure if he was only questioning the legitimacy of seeing the person staring back at him, or desperately fishing for answers. A sense of being right, believing himself, become looked down on, and questioned on his mental state far too much. God doesn't believe you. Your mother surely thinks you're losing it. Injured your grandmother thanks to something that could have been there in the dark. And what must have made Kenny's think of you after that outburst? Thoughts ran through Art's head as he trudged on. A few streetlights were on. As he got further down the street, flicker was more noticeable. No completely busted bulbs, or exhausted yards, run-down houses, broken bottles, and cigarette butts in the van. Few guys stood around a burning barrel together, talking and drinking. Arnold found his opinions stifled on him, only keeping his eye contact minimal as he kept along. It was a bitter nostalgia, good memories mixed with the truth. Arnold bit his inner cheek, constantly looking around himself as he walked. Cracked streets, cracked sidewalks, short road signs that were vandalized. He noticed how bad things looked very faintly growing up, but he never looked further than the surface. what it took for his own ego boost. There's still cars on the road as he got closer by his old neighborhood. He could hear shouting from inside a house and couldn't help but think how his own house was to sound like that to others passing by in the past. No one bothered to check, at least as far as he knew. Time ticked on. The town got colder. Arden kept right along. Let the worries play through his head without much concern. There was a pinhole of light at the end of this. Something he needed to see. Someone that was way overdue talking with. Arden stopped only briefly at a bench covered in graffiti near a bus stop. He sat there despite the grind, taking his time to let in and let out harsh breaths. He wasn't sure if anyone would get up and look for him before he left town, but he put his phone on silent anyway. He'd only fight with him again. There was no way he could stay, especially now that he was directly told to leave. Couldn't. Staying there was settling, giving in, admitting some mistakes can't be atoned for. Arden voiced quietly. It was a familiar but heavy pain he alone carried. It still made his teeth grit. Arden noticed the people who looked up, glanced at him, started talking with each other, and he kept going. I remember getting annoyed with it before, or even being afraid other times. But he was focused now on something more important. Hoped he could find his peace and focus when things would never be grisly again. He'd like to say he was used to these feelings, but only execute the plans, without getting twisted with emotion. Having that hope was the only thing he could truly do, and even that hadn't always worked. At My Grave, Season 4, Sanity or Salvation, Chapter 48. Forgotten leaves scattered along the path, pathetically under a hill. The wind picked up briefly, but mellowed to something low and steady. The air was cold. Snow patched the ground, didn't cover it fully, leaving areas of frosty, mushed grass. His grip loosened, letting go completely. He took a good look at the entrance. Despite it going against what he wanted to believe, he had to be here. He couldn't leave without speaking to him. He pushed away all the argument in his head, the other logic he wanted to use, and the plain stubbornness that mixed with hurt. Arden took one careful step after the other, leaving his luggage behind as he entered the cemetery. Old images fought to come back, fresh in his mind. Hairy faces, the cruelty of the beautiful weather that day, the shape and cut of the coffin, the vibrant colors of the flowers laid there. The string clips as they got off that same coffin being lowered down to the dirt. A shared memory everyone agreed upon forgetting. He also remembered himself, hiding away, trying not to pay attention to it at all, not bothering to comfort anyone. He felt so alone, so stuck in his own state of mind. He felt frozen. He wasn't alone, though. Galen was there. He tried talking him through it, putting himself on hold for him. But now, Arden's eyes glanced over the other headstones as he slowly made his way to his brother's. He could feel his body trembling under his coat, his throat getting dry. He hadn't remembered to bring anything, but still, he'd leave Reed with a thought. After all, Reed had always wanted to be in his life, even with the faces that both suffered. As he walked, he noticed some headstones had fresh flowers. Maybe family visited with the more days. Some had anything at all, a name and a date. Some areas looked neat and tidy, while others still had old leaves. Arden couldn't help but wonder if anyone was present, watching him right now. That thought used to intrigue him. Now, he wasn't sure if he'd be happy or scared of that fact. The only person he truly hoped was waiting for him was Reed. Arden barely got his name out of his mouth. He was on the path to his brother's grave, starting to speak to him, and a sight stopped him. 4 figures standing around Reed's headstone, talking loudly, laughing. There were half-empty bottles lying around there, spray paint in someone's hand. Things already scribbled around the area. Arden couldn't stop his mouth from going agape with a gasp. One man nudged another, making him turn around. What? The question. Then a grin spread across his face. Oh, I see, chuckled along with the others. He stepped away from the gravestone, further into Arden's view, moonlight reflecting off him, held with the lights now. Finally, Arden Adler, I get a hold of you. How did I know you'd eventually show up here? His question dripped in smugness. Ted? The name was forced from his lips, pure shock taking him over. He was surprised to see him after all this time. An odd piece of his past. He looked different, older than time allowed. Bigger somehow, lines hard, and a reminder in the center of his face. I told you Shanique spotted him. His friends chuckled with slight triumph. This is gonna be good. Another laughed, numbering his arms. Arden's ears seemed to fuzz out as they spoke to him, eyes refocusing on the scene behind them then. It was like a spark went through him, his brain finally catching up with what his eyes first saw. If they couldn't be, why would they? How could anyone? What do you think you're doing? Arden shouted, his voice carrying through the frigid night air. There you go again. Why don't you shut up and listen for once? Ted berated. The shock was quickly gone, replaced by a growing anger. We were wondering why Big Brother didn't come to save you. Turns out, this is where he was hiding the whole time. One of the others jeered. His friends joined in, whooping in laughter, seeing the tension grow in Arden. Don't be angry at us. You had it coming after what you did. I thought we had an understanding. But you couldn't just take your beating quietly, Ted began explaining. Shut up! Arden shouted. He lunged forward, swinging wildly, his fist colliding with the right side of Ted's cheek. He caught him by surprise, making him stumble to one side. You're gonna let that go, Ted? Lay into him! Shouting bubbled up. You don't run anymore, huh? Ted started to say after spitting. He barely had time to look back at Arden, who was coming at him again, swinging with both fists this time. Brutal haymakers, fought with grunts that almost turned into shouts. The pain shocked Ted. He was expecting some type of pushback. He wasn't intending a real fight. Arden wasn't running, and that alone caught him off guard. Arden came at him again, just as Ted tried to create distance. Ted quickly grabbed at Arden's face, the heel of his palm slamming into Arden's nose, pain radiating through. Arden groaned through his throat, but he couldn't make himself stop. After everything, positive, negative, his doubts and progress, seeing these disgusting people desecrate his brother's grave was enough. He felt the pent emotions exploding. The cheering and cussing from Ted's crew only fueled it more. What a little rat! After all you've done, you still think you're in the right, Ted spat, shoving Arden back down before he could kick him. The ground was cold and unforgiving. The impact forced a strained sound out of Arden. How dare you insult me? I have a right to fight back! Look at what you're doing to my brother! What kind of a person are you? Arden shouted. You destroyed my life, and still all I hear is you want sympathy. You little brat, I blame the streets for not teaching you, Ted stormed. Ted went in to stomp Arden. He struggled on the ground to roll. Air escaping from his body being crushed. His foot landed on his back instead, trapping him. Adrenaline was pumping. Arden glanced around, quickly grabbed what was in reach, one of the balls they'd been drinking from. He grabbed it and swiftly hurled it at Ted. Ted cursed sharply as the ball crashed into his head. He stumbled hard this time, knees buckling. Arden took the opportunity to jump up. He forced his body weight into Ted with another right swing. His knuckles cracking to that side of Ted's head again, knocking him to the ground. Blood forced from him as he fell heavy. Ted, what are you doing? You're gonna let this fairy beat you up? Get up, man, come on! Arden's blood boiled hot enough for the both of them. He started to stagger towards Ted's friends. You're gonna regret coming at us like that, little man, one mocked. I'll live with it, Arden spat back. He kicked the bottles and spray paint cans out of his way as he came at them. A hard gasp echoed out of Arden as he fell forward. Ted had gotten behind him, kicking him in his back. It sent shockwaves through him. Arden fell in front of his phone gravestone, sprawling out in devastating ache. He was breathing out harshly, pain stinging his body everywhere. Hurt the men over him laughing, making fun. One even began taking out a lighter for a cigarette. He couldn't let this happen. He would not let his brother be disrespected like this. Even if he wasn't here to defend himself, he would let them know tonight. As long as Arden Atlan was alive, he was too. Arden struggled, pushing himself back up. His face twisted, his body was tense. He glared at these people, ice in his eyes. Who said we were done? Look alive, Ted yelled. He had dried blood on him, his jaw clenched. You're a fool. How can you justify what you've done to my brother? Arden screamed. He was facing Ted now, back to his gravestone. His chest was heaving, clothes ragged, bruises creeping into his skin. Don't make me laugh. This isn't about him. It's about you. His grave just had to suffer. Ted stepped towards him. Arden bit down hard, teeth gritted. The pain was pulsing, but adrenaline pushed him on. You got to get out of this place. Flying here, there, everywhere. Like you took my rights away. Think you're the only one who wanted to get out? Ted shouted at him, wiping away his blood. We don't play about telling cops around here. One of Ted's friends spoke up. You care about your brother so much, we can lay you out beside him, the other hissed, holding the cigarette between his teeth. In a quick movement, Arden leaned down, turning as he stood back up. He grabbed one of the spray paint cans, aiming it at the man, lighting the cigarette, spraying it into his face. Flames quickly leapt up into him. He dropped the light almost instantly. Fire catching to his collar and hair, sending him flailing backwards. His friends started yelling loudly, cussing, trying to get around and help him. Arden didn't have time to register what he'd done. His body rattled as his stomach was impacted, heart with motion. He was forced down, his body sliding across the ground. He tried to set himself up on his elbows. Suddenly, his body felt light as Ted grabbed him up by his collar, lifting him off the ground slightly. Arden's shaking hands reached to grab at Ted's. Get off of me! Arden rasped out barely. The snatch was sharp. Ted reared back, swinging, digging his knuckles into Arden's face. The force of the blow made his vision blur, and eyes get hot. He felt something trickle and tasted rust. Sit at My Grave, Season 4, Sanity or Salvation, Chapter 49. I'm done trying to explain what you did. I just want you to feel regret now, Ted said. Arden could barely see his dilated pupils staring into his eyes as he tried to get his bearings. I didn't do anything, Arden's raspy voice argued. You could have killed him! The voice aside from Ted screamed out. Arden felt a kick to his side. Is Leo okay? Ted questioned. Yeah, looks like it. But he got snow on him just in time. I don't know if the burns got deep, he responded, his voice shaking. That's why I told you, Ted. Can't leave little sniveling bugs like that alive. They always come back for you, man. Ted's eyes narrowed, listening closely. If the cops got caught for that junk we did months ago, what do you think he'll do after this? If you go in again, it'll be years. Your artist is supposed to be staying out of trouble. He'll be in Fiji, and you'll be riding away in a cell. Sprang got louder, his eyes bulging. He kept looking around the place, twitching, trying to keep his eyes on his friends. Arden watched them talk. He felt blood dribble out of his mouth, cuts burning on him. Couldn't tell if they'd broken anything. He still couldn't shake the anger and utter confusion, and couldn't let them win. His brother was dead, and they had the nerve to babble on about how bad their lives were. Still, it was me against him alone. He couldn't run even if he wanted, and fighting them was just becoming worse. He felt his chest rattling, with the aching breaths he sucked in and shuddered out. While they were distracted, Arden quietly tried to dial for Gallon. Hope flooded Arden as he waited to hear him pick up. He carefully opened his eyes once again when he realized this time Gallon hadn't answered. Fear replaced his temporary relief. Gallon wouldn't have shown up to fight back, but he wouldn't have left him here to get beaten up alone. Not back when they were close. Arden's phone pathetically clicked off after no answer. Couldn't help but be reminded of the awful display he had since he got home. Begging for money, fighting with everyone. He injured his grandmother, and even she forgave him, giving him excuses like everyone always did. Too happy with him being home to hold him to his awful mistake of getting scared in the dark. He messed up, and now, as Arden gazed around, injured and exhausted, realization of being alone set in hard. Now wasn't the time to have an adrenaline dump. He saw Ted, talking with his friends, putting on what looked like brass knuckles. They weren't done with him yet, not by far. We'll just have to. Ted's speech stuttered, eyes turning wide, Arden's wrist twist, making Ted lower, his knees buckling. He held the broken shard of glass in Ted's stomach, his warm blood spilling out. You cheating weasel! Ted trembled out, beads of sweat pulled on him, his body shaking. It's all you deserve. Staying in jail would have been a better end for you. Arden growled out. He felt his own chest throbbing with heat, pushing his fears down again. He had to push deeper. They broken anything. He still couldn't shake the anger and utter confusion, and couldn't let them win. His brother was dead, and they had the nerve to babble on about how bad their lives were. Still, it was me against him alone. He couldn't run even if he wanted, and fighting them was just becoming worse. He felt his chest rattling, the aching breaths he sucked in and shuddered out. While they were distracted, Arden quietly tried to dial for Gallon. Hope flooded Arden as he waited to hear him pick up. He carefully opened his eyes once again when he realized this time Gallon hadn't answered. Fear replaced his temporary relief. Gallon wouldn't have shown up to fight back, but he wouldn't have left him here to get beaten up alone. Not back when they were close. Arden's phone pathetically clicked off after no answer. He couldn't help but be reminded of the awful display he had since he got home. Begging for money, fighting with everyone. He injured his grandmother, and even she forgave him, giving him excuses like everyone always did. Too happy with him being home to hold him to his awful mistake of getting scared in the dark. He messed up, and now, as Arden gazed around, injured and exhausted, realization of being alone set in hard. Now wasn't the time to have an adrenaline dump. He saw Ted, talking with his friends, putting on what looked like brass knuckles. They weren't done with him yet, not by far. We'll just have to. Ted's speech stuttered, eyes turning wide, Arden's wrist twist, making Ted lower, his knees buckling. He held the broken shard of glass in Ted's stomach, his warm blood spilling out. You cheating weasel! Ted trembled out, beads of sweat pulled on him, his body shaking. It's all you deserve. Staying in jail would have been a better end for you, Hunter growled out. He felt his own chest throbbing with heat, pushing his fears down again. He had to push deeper, but an arm around his throat, one on his wrist, yanked him back. He kept his grip on the glass, yanking the blood-covered weapon with him. Ted fell backwards, groaning out his blood-stained his shirt. Ray, he called desperately for his friend. Arnold's body jerked and jolted, his fist pelted him. Then he came over, seeing the scene, and started wailing on him, along with Ray. Fist flew into his flesh. He was being kicked from different angles. Shouts flowing over them through the cold air as it happened. Arnie even felt one of the men spit on him. He swung desperately, eyes closed tightly. Arnold felt flesh against his blade. His brows pulled together, a rush flowing through his chest. Fear and fury mixed within him. He was hurt, and now in a situation, the feeling of wanting to run away came back. He'd never been in a fight like this. Giving up wouldn't save him this time. Back off, Benny! Short voice screamed. Arnold's eyes briefly opened again. Somehow, through the struggle, his back ended up flush against Reed's gravestone. His breathing was rattling. His energy had run out. He wasn't a fighter. He was merely trying to survive. The pain throbbed everywhere, making his body tremble. He tried to keep the grimace on his face, but he couldn't even muster that. He was scared. One hand clutched onto his side, while the other held onto his only weapon. Arden's blood mingled with drool, slowly cascading down from his slack jaw, as he continued with a deep, rattling breaths he tried to take in. The pure anger was leaving him too. The outrage for his brother still held tight in his core. He was starting to feel a lot like a child in him, kicking off, trying to protect something, rather than an anger anyone would truly be intimidated with. Sit at My Grave, Season 4, Sanity or Salvation, Chapter 50. He couldn't force his body to move, not after it fought so hard, not after he demanded so much from it. It wouldn't be fair. He was heavy, lethargic, still gasping in that cold, unforgiving air, the scent of his own blood creeping out with every rasp he took that dried out his throat. His tired eyes glided over the men standing over him, grumbling, planning, helping each other with the injuries he inflicted. Should he be proud he did this much, or disappointed for what he could not contain? Saliva pushed in, like thorns in his throat. Were they fighting, deciding what they wanted to do to him? He wanted to plan his next move, but an awaited weariness coated him. His hands used his remaining strength to dig into the ground. Evil fists that whitened his knuckles, beaten up at the mercy of enemies he didn't have to make. Very fitting. His eyes glanced behind him. This wasn't how he expected it to go, but he came here for a reason. Reed, I never got to update you. I guess I didn't have much to report. I don't know if it's good news to you, but I've gotten further in the process of bringing you back. I don't know if you believe that I want you back beside me this badly. I don't even know if you want to be. I traveled to another country. I met so many people. I've tried, but I'm so clumsy. Always have been. You know that. I think I've gained so much. My head is always too high. I trip. I fall. All over again. The mumbling got louder. Things were shifted around. Something was pointed at him. The voices intensified. His eyes squinted gently. But still, he didn't move. I was supposed to restore balance, get you back. While I do miss you, I want you back to live your life regardless, if it still includes me. I owe you that much. My pace wasn't fast, but I swear, I wasn't trying to be selfish this time. Things just got the better of me. I messed everything up. I couldn't fill your shoes, and now I don't know if I can get you back. He never thought he'd have a moment like this, staring into something that meant to put a stop to everything he worked for. But here he was, beaten, alone. Was he feeling sorry for himself, or settling into it with dignity? I'm sorry. You've heard me whine for years about everything. Maybe I shouldn't spend these moments still doing that. I'm sorry, Reed. I hope we're together, but I have a feeling we won't be. I hope you get peace, above all. And I'd ask for your forgiveness, but what have I done to earn it? Arden's body tensed. That was all he could do. What was all of it for? The anger, the pain, the criminal activities he'd done, tarnishing his reputation that he barely had, fighting with everyone close to him, making everyone's lives miserable.
Right now. This is
Now
all
all he had was a belly full of regrets,
Chill, man. Come on, please.
sitting there,
Disgusting.
head
Aim it.
lowered,
Pull the
like
trigger.
a wounded animal awaiting slaughter.
What about your record?
Arden's teeth gritted, eyes barely gazing up, as he saw the blurry movement from where he sat at Reed's grave. He could barely make out the figure standing, aiming at him. The finger pulled at the trigger, the sound blasting over through all the argument, and the gun barrel aimed at his head. His eyes shut, and everything went blank.